All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to this week's crypto market update. We're going to keep this a little bit shorter, but I'm still going to give you a really good, detailed explanation of exactly what I'm looking for. We're kind of just getting back into the rhythm, back into the flow of things. So, like I said, going to keep it a little bit shorter. But we're going to be going over Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, Sol, Curve, and Sheep. I've kind of just picked out a couple random ones. So. Let's start off with Bitcoin here, obviously the mother of all crypto. And if you watched my live stream, then you should already have a good understanding of what I'm about to say. So basically, Bitcoin, we have a range high here, we have a range low. We're ranging, we swept that high, and then we've come back to range low. So there is a potential short trade forming, but there's no really good short trade to be able to like set limits at and have really just confidence in it, right? We're bullish market structure on basically all time frame. By the way, if you guys can hear the wind, I apologize. It's like 50 miles per hour wind here. But if we do something like go sweep the high again, come back in the range, then I would start to look for shorts. If we reject this area, we get like a market structure change, or do something bearish at the top, like get a failure to break out pattern, something like that, then I'm for sure going to start to look for short trades. But this impulsive move, I don't have any reason to look to just set a limit and short it, other than the fact that we did sweep the high. But other than that, there's not much here. So there's short trades to be had, but nothing is formed yet. Until then, I'm just expecting all-time high to be, taken out. I don't see any reason why it doesn't after a range like this forms, especially if this were to break out. We're just kind of trading in a sideways channel here. You can see that these three touches to the downside. This is the top of the channel. So if we do move up again, we could find some resistance, which is why I talk about the short trade for a potential move down. But nothing like that has formed yet. Now let's talk about the flip side of things. So from high to range low, we have a deviation fib that lines up down here. Again, when a range breaks, we don't just expect a full-on breakdown of this range. Usually, we'll go fill orders, come back in, distribute those orders, and then move down. Or get a back test of the range low after getting TP1. That's why we have a tighter stop here. So this idea is a daily naked point of control, a volume level paired up with a fib level, a deviation level right here. And then I think there was something else there, like there was a cheeky anchored VWAP or something else that we had. Anyway, it doesn't matter too much, but that's the scalp trade I'm looking for. Again, I'm not setting limits, but if we get a good reaction at this level, a nice volatile move in, I wouldn't be surprised if we trade back up to weekly open from that time. So that's something to watch out for. We've gone over the short scenario, first long scenario, next long scenario here is going to be really important. It's hard to see, but we've got a 382 Fibonacci pull here. And then we have from the low up to the high, we have a fixed range volume profile where we can see this value area high, this good chunk of volume. We don't have a whole lot anywhere else besides at the top. So if we end up moving to the downside, end up breaking past this, the first area we can kind of run into that brick wall support is going to be this zone that we've marked here. So that's where I'm looking for the next swing trade. We also have a monthly open, a yearly open, an anchored VWAP coming up. So really, really high confluence area. And to hold the daily bullish market structure, would need to hold this zone too. So pretty important. And again, I just look to take that up to all-time high. At first, I was looking at a trade with this liquidity, using it as a stop loss, but I would just prefer to go a little bit tighter. And if we get another trade, if we get a really good reaction off of that liquidity, I think that's a trade itself, more of a scalp trade. So just keep that idea in mind. If we fail to hold this area, which is possible, obviously we'd prefer to bounce there, but we do have really good levels to the downside where we have a monthly naked point of control, which is also happens to be the impulse point of control, again from the low up to the high. where the most transacted price volume is traded. We have a daily level, we have a monthly level, and then if it wants to take a bit of liquidity under these lows, that's why I've loosened the stop loss just a little bit. But here I would target the yearly open. The yearly open is not something that we want to see flipped. We want to hold this, and if we don't, it becomes an SR level where we could continue down. So I think it'd be really important to take majority of profit off the table by that point. So these are all my main key levels in this range. Interesting price action. We're at a value area high. We flipped point of control. This entire move to the upside hasn't had like a really good back test yet. It's just been ranging environment, move up, range, move up ever since down here. So really interesting what's to come on Bitcoin next. Let's take a look at ETH here. In the ETH chart, to be honest, it just wasn't speaking to me. I don't really like the look of it for a very clear setup. But ETH, we do have a good liquidity level that was put in right here. After this giant impulse move up, found support right here. A lot of potential stop losses stacked below here. And then it's kind of just not necessarily trending, but more just of a larger range. So if we take this level out, not only is it a good liquidity level, a good area to bounce, but we also have a deviation fib, which what we would want to see for a trade at this level is a move into it, aggressive move preferably. This get bought back up, look for a long trade, preferably also see that this low be claimed at that time, so start trading back above this low. Again, that's my preferred scenario. Nothing speaking to me really, really well on ETH. I believe there was some. Okay, yeah, I wanted to show you guys this too. So the weekly value areas, we have a naked weekly value area high. Misput that a little bit. The point of control has basically already been tapped. I kind of am marking it as tapped. I'm not really going to take a trade there. But this naked weekly value area high, if we get a move up to it, it could be really, really good for a little scalp trade. But other than that, if we move up to this daily zone, we'd be taking these highs out again. And then again, it'd just be a deviation of this high to low, a move up, sweeping highs, deviating, and then a potential move back just like into more of this volume area. ETH chart to me looks pretty ugly. It's just a chop to the downside. I kind of just want to wait for more price action to develop, see if we go take these highs again. If we come down here, I'm a little bit more interested than I would just be blind shorting it. But it's definitely something to keep an eye out for. XRP spoke to me a little bit better here. This is more of a swing trade idea. I know we have a whole lot of levels marked. Let me just delete this really quick. But yeah, I just wanted to show the range point of control is currently where we're consolidating. If we move up to the value area high, and I have pulled this fixed range volume profile from where we started to consolidate right here, all the way to the current price action. I know it looks like a lot, but these are in-depth analysis. It's not typical. But it's important to get a context of, okay, right now we're trading with a lot of volume. The value area high of this giant range is up here, value area low is down here. So resistance, support, currently consolidating, which will be important context for if we start to get a bigger move either direction. Now let's go ahead and look at the 4 hour. And by the way, I wanted to keep this on here because if we end up, like you can see that we rejected this value area high really well and failed to break higher with this high. If we reject this area again, say the weekly naked point of control or just above this liquidity high, I didn't put it on the chart, but I am looking for potential shorts there. It wasn't worth putting on the chart because I want to see how price action develops throughout the week. Because right now we're leaning a little bit more bearish. You can see the previous week low was swept, and now we're getting a bounce to the upside. So now watching how things develop around the weekly open, around the point of control, and all these other areas too. But to the downside, which is my main point for this long, I really love this anchored VWAP. We have a giant trend to the upside. XRP always respects these very, very well. And so big move up. This anchored VWAP is not touched recently at all. So when you couple that with a monthly open, a weekly level, daily level, yearly open for invalidation, it makes for a really good trade. And you could probably even, take multiple trades here, like take a VWAP and a monthly open scalp, look for a weekly scalp, a daily. For a swing trade idea, this is what I'm going with, targeting the weekly naked point of control. But I wouldn't be surprised to see like that high or eventually that monthly level be taken out for something like this a lot higher. That's just a reasonable, swing trade target. So this is XRP, super simple. I really just love this anchored VWAP. That's kind of the core of the trade, along just with the continuation of this bullish structure on the daily. If we can continue that, the daily would be a little bit more clear, but you can see this uptrend we've got going. Buy the pullbacks in the uptrend and you'll win majority of the time, besides when high time frame structure changes. All right, we got SOL here. Again, context of this fixed range volume profile, pulled it from where we started consolidating all the way to the current price. We can see this massive point of control here. We have a value area high that we currently rejected, and then a value area low all the way down here, kind of irrelevant. But if we go up, same idea as XRP, we have something bearish get put in, go reject, change structure, I'll definitely be looking to short this, but I didn't put it on the chart because until something like that happens, I'm not really looking for shorts. But something, not exactly to set a limit at, but a more probable short is this yearly open level. We can see this is coupled with range low to range high, deviated the downside. If we went and deviated this upside into the yearly open, that is 100% a short trade I'd be looking for, as you can see that I've marked here. And then I would just go and target somewhere in this range, or this low is kind of what I mapped it out to. But really good potential for a short trade there on SOL. This, I didn't really look at this, but it could be this range's value area low. You can see that there was just strong support there. That's now flipped into resistance. So a really good area there on SOL. We have lower for a swing trade. We have a monthly open. Again, the same thing as XRP. We have a anchored VWAP from this low. Let me adjust that, which will be a really good level. We have a weekly level, and then we have this giant point of control. So if there's somewhere where SOL is going to bounce and it's going to go to $200+ and continue this bullish trend, this bullish market structure that we have, in my opinion, this is the best spot that you can pick for it. Stop loss would go below this liquidity, but if you wanted to tighten this up, depending on where the anchored VWAP ends up to, I think that's a good idea. Curve, a lot of you guys know that I love Curve. I called spot Curve on this drop here down at 42 cents. It basically doubled, went about 90% up so far. Yeah, high time frame, in my opinion, it still looks bullish, so I'm still looking to long pullbacks. If I show you this on the daily, we have this range high, resistance, consolidated around it, looking for a back test of the SR level, and back test of a very important level, which pulled from this low up to the current high. We have this really important high volume area, and specifically the point of control. So this area for Curve to hold is just super important. I know there's other things that I marked there, like that I didn't mark there actually. At daily level, all sorts of other stuff. But we've got an anchored VWAP, point of control. It'd be nice to sweep this liquidity and then start to break out to the upside. And then stop loss, I would just use a close below these levels. And yeah, let's hope that this continues up to these various highs and eventually up to here. And then hopefully one day, this is a massive target for me, about 1.6. So that's what I'm hoping to sell a good chunk of my spot at. I did sell a little bit, but not very much. Okay, let's see. Shiba is the last one. For me, there's two scenarios here. I know I marked the short, but there's a potential long trade here as well. But the short looks better, and I'm kind of just waiting on the long. So let's look at high time frame. High time frame we can see on the daily. We took liquidity below a high time frame low. We deviated this low, so similar pattern to curve, looking high time frame bullish, kind of ready for this breakout. The only thing holding it back is this range high. Liquidity got swept, and then that caused us to come back inside all of this volume. So not a breakout quite yet. We still have some more time to consolidate, but expecting it to consolidate, not break out quite yet because of the bearish pattern that happened at the high. Twice swept the yellow line high that we have, swept this high that we have, broke structure to the downside. I know this would mean that it would break back up, especially after a previous week low sweep, but it's a point of control. You have a value area high that also came back below, and just a good SR zone. And then we have a previous week EQ. We have a potential deviation from this high and this low, which would have it come up and then come back into the range and hopefully fall lower. Weekly level, we talked about the point of control. A daily, and my stop loss would go above this high / the value area high of the larger range. You could also do other things like, pull a fib here. There's probably a harmonic here, things like that. So yeah, I'm thinking this will be a good trade when it happens if the market's not terribly bullish, just because SHIB has been struggling a little bit. And I want it to rotate down to the monthly and weekly, where I'm looking to pick up spot for a potential swing long. So that's quite the recap there. We went over several coins, nothing too crazy, nothing too clear, in my opinion. A lot of trade ideas to be had, good trades to be had this week too. Focus on a couple key concepts and you guys will kill it. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and see you in the next update.